Hello, wrestling fans. This is Sal Lasardo reporting in from Orlando, Florida, with another edition of Rough Cuts. With this video, Bill had just posted a video on Monday evening about inductees into the 2021 Hall of Fame. He did a video. If you have not checked it out, please do. I normally every year do my predictions on who should be in and who should not be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm going to do my Hall of Fame edition video for you this time. And also, this dingy background goes away the next time you see my video. After this, Buddy and I will be in our new home. We got a brand new place to live, and we will not have this background anymore. We will have a upscale background. As the Jeffersons once said, we're moving on up to the east side. We got a big luxury apartment in the sky high. I can't sing very well, but yes, we did get a brand new place to live, and we will be moving. So the next edition of Rough Cuts will be in our apartment, and Buddy, my dog, and I are looking forward to that challenge coming up in the next this week, actually, the weekend of April 1st, Thursday, we move. So we're very excited. As far as this video, again, it's a Hall of Fame edition. As far as who I think should be inducted, that is not inducted into the Hall of Fame. And please be advised, these are my opinions only. They're not affiliated with Bill Apter or the WWE or any promotion. But let's get right to it. Let's get to people that I feel deserve to be in the Hall of Fame that are not in the Hall of Fame. First and foremost, my boss, Bill Apter. He has been my friend for the past 35 years. I have had the privilege and the honor of working for him for the last 18 years. And there is no Hall of Fame without my boss, Bill Apter. I know the WWE has not inducted him yet. Whether he believes he belongs in or not, well, he not only deserves, belongs, he's earned it. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it more than anybody on the face of this earth. He's been inducted to every wrestling Hall of Fame known to man, except this one. And beyond any reasonable doubt, Bill Apter should be at the top of every list for every Hall of Fame. And the fact that he's not inducted yet is a travesty, to say the least. It doesn't matter that he has not worked for the organization. He was there. I mean, covering Pro Wrestling Illustrated, he used to cover the matches, but he never physically worked, per se, for the WWE. Doesn't mean anything. His work, his knowledge, Bill has done everything and anything that you can ask for as a journalist, from Pro Wrestling Illustrated to bringing Andy Kaufman into the twofold. That started one of the greatest storylines in wrestling history, to the Apter chats, to OneWrestling.com, to the videos, all the conventions he's done, his book, his Wrestling Fix. I didn't know it was broken. I mean, the accolades that this man has accumulated over many decades, to say the least, is well-deserving, well-honored, and Bill Apter belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame. As I said for many years, just because he never worked for Vince and the WWE doesn't mean he doesn't belong there, because performers and journalists all work under the same umbrella. That is to provide entertainment to you, to me, to the fans of the world. And Bill has covered it from coast to coast, border to border, and around the globe. And there is no reason why he should not be inducted. It is a travesty that he is not in the Hall of Fame at this point. So Bill Apter is my number one pick. Cyndi Lauper. When is Cyndi Lauper going into the Hall of Fame? Without Cyndi Lauper's contribution to WrestleMania 1 to start the rock and roll era of wrestling of the 80s, there is no WrestleMania 1, because it was really her that kick-started this whole thing of WrestleMania that led to her and teaming up with her and Wendy going after Moolah, but the whole WrestleMania per se. And there is no WrestleMania. She's the last of the contingent that is not in. What is the WWE waiting for? She belongs there. You have no WrestleMania without Cyndi Lauper. Grammy winner. She's won every accolade. She's just another girl that wants to have fun time after time, and she deserves to have an endless moment to be etched in history forever and ever. She deserves the honor, and it is another travesty that she is not in the Hall of Fame, and she belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I am still waiting to see what the day that will come that this multi-talented Grammy Award-winning performer is going to be inducted. Remember, she did a lot of the videos. Remember the Land of the Thousand Dances? She was in the video. She's done so much. And that contribution in the 80s, we're not here today if it wasn't for Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper's contribution really started it all with the music, the videos, a whole enchilada, and how Cindy's not in is beyond me. And when is she going to get the call? When is she going to get the call? It's the cherry on top of a career for Cyndi, and she's still writing and performing beautiful music all over. And she's got videos out and albums and things still coming out, and it's just stood the test of time. But you know what? Her contributions to the world of sports entertainment, she belongs. Hands down, she belongs. Axe and Smash. Demolition. Yes, Demolition needs to be inducted. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. They were managed by Mr. Fuji. They were tag team champions. They went back and forth a little bit as faces and heels. Arguably one of the most dynamic, gifted tag teams of the WWF, WWE era. Yes, they belong in the Hall of Fame. And definitely need to give a nod to Demolition and Axe and Smash, the paint and that music and the way they came out. They were just something else to watch, and it doesn't matter who they stepped in the ring with. They just went out there and did one thing. They kicked some butt, big time, and it showed. Were they better with or without Fuji? That's a question. I think they were just as great with Fuji as they were without him. Unfortunately, Mr. Fuji is no longer with us to be there for the one day that they get inducted, but they belong inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yes, they do belong. I'm waiting for Adrian Adonis to go in. Adorable Adrian. Yes, you know that he tragically passed away. Part of the East-West connection with former Governor Jesse, the body, the mind Ventura. Yes, Adrian Adonis deserves to go in the Hall of Fame, and I hoping to see the day that he goes in posthumously. I hope that Jesse Ventura would get the call to be the one to put the induction in and give the plaque to his wife and children. Adrian Adonis, tag team champion. Then he had this feud with Roddy Piper and did the adorable gimmick, the Gorgeous George type gimmick managed by Jimmy Hart. Always a heel, but always beloved by the fans. And tragically, he passed away way too young. He certainly had a Hall of Fame career, and I'm waiting to see the day that adorable Adrian Adonis belongs into the Hall of Fame. It is a travesty that he is not in whatsoever. And I hope to see the day that he does go in. I also, as far as other performers, Francine. Francine Fournier. Yes, my friend on Twitter. Yes, I consider her a friend. I've had the privilege and pleasure of talking to her, and she is such a lovely lady. She is the true queen of professional wrestling. She is the queen of extreme and the first true original queen of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. She is absolutely one of a kind, an original, and she belongs to be acknowledged in the WWE Hall of Fame, even though, she kind of briefly came over towards the end of the ECW thing. But she went to measures and did things that nobody could ever do inside that square circle, especially under Paul Heyman, as Paul Heyman was pushing boundaries beyond boundaries. And Francine belongs in the Hall of Fame for what she has done. She's really paved the way for women to take that next step as far as extreme wrestling is concerned. And she belongs to be there. And I want to see the day where she finally gets her induction and her rightful place in the Hall of Fame for the work she did for him. And remember, she just came up. She wasn't a part of the business. She came up, discovered, and Paul Heyman gave her the ball, and she took some of the most amazing circus bumps that we will ever see in wrestling. And yes, she has been injured, but yet, just like a trooper and just like the queen she is, she got up, she bounced back, and forged on ahead. And yes, Francine, the queen of extreme, the queen of wrestling, she belongs in the Hall of Fame, hands down, and her induction is long overdue. They're putting Rob Van Dam in, but yet Rob has worked for the promotion in capacity. But Rob Van Dam, yeah, is really a true first original ECW member to go in. But I believe Francine needs to go as well, as far as the ladies is concerned. One more name I'm going to throw out there is Gary Hart, manager Gary Hart. You know, this guy, I'm waiting for the day as well. I know, yeah, he never came up through the territories and the promotions and other promotions. This guy has really, done some amazing work as a focal point of performers. Remember, he managed Terry Funk in the I Quit match against Ric Flair that was way back in the 80s. And this guy, I don't know how he's not in the Hall of Fame yet for what he has done. Manager of champions, singles, multiple tag title champions. Pro Wrestling Illustrated had him ranked very high, the manager of the year or something over the years. How Gary Hart is not in the Hall of Fame is another travesty and another, why is Gary Hart not in the Hall of Fame? Gary Hart has accomplished so much throughout his wrestling career, and I believe his accolades throughout other promotions and in the territories in the South that expanded across the country and around the globe. His work is absolutely impeccable. His resume is too long to be listed, and without any reasonable doubt, Gary Hart belongs in the Hall of Fame. So those are my picks for the Hall of Fame that I believe that are truly deserving. Of course, my boss Bill Apter, as I said, um, Demolition, Francine, Gary Hart, Adrian Adonis, all belong in the Hall of Fame, to name a few. There are many, countless others, but these are my people who I think belong in the Hall of Fame. Someone had asked me, how do you feel about the Hall of Fame in general? Because do you think there would ever be an actual Hall of Fame per se, like they have in Canton and baseball and basketball? Well, and technically, in a way, it is actually an actual true Hall of Fame because it lives through the WWE Network, because the WWE Network, which is now streaming on Peacock, um, you get to relive the moments. The library is there for you to go up and look and see all these performers by doing the search and finding out what's going on through the various promotions and the various pay-per-views that happen. They've got the entire library of all the promotions. So even though it's not physically there, it does live through the WWE Network. But should there be an actual Hall of Fame itself? Well, you got to look at it this way. You have to put it someplace where it's going to attract people. Tourism. And I really believe that they could do an actual Hall of Fame, like baseball and other places, in Orlando, Florida, on International Drive, because it's a hot tourist spot. They could open up a small place, merchandising, have the videos and memorabilia that could be available for purchase, maybe have performers come in and do autograph sessions as well. I do believe an actual Hall of Fame should be able to exist, and I think Florida and Orlando on I Drive would be the perfect hotspot for it, to have the actual physicality of it, because it's a tourist destination. WWE Hall of Fame, and have performers, come in and do autograph sessions and all this merchandising and videos, and they could make a buck off it. Sure. I mean, why not? I agree. I think they should have an actual museum Hall of Fame per se, where people can go and get their wrestling stuff that they want to get, and also get to meet performers, past, present, future, up and coming, and have someone there doing the sessions. I think it would be a tremendous moneymaker for the WWE. But for right now, we have the WWE Network streaming on Peacock for the time being. But yeah, I do think they should be able to open up a place, and I think it would do fairly well. I mean, the WWE is $1 billion corporation. They wouldn't lose any money on it, and I think it'd be a lot easier than people that are touring through to go and get merchandising, through the WWE actual Hall of Fame museum, uh, if it was in Orlando, as opposed to getting it online. But tourism, yeah, sure, it's a wonderful tourist attraction, especially if you have someone, like Braun Strowman making an appearance. Kevin Owens is going to do an autograph section. Come to the WWE Hall of Fame Museum on International Drive, and Kevin Owens will be here from 12 to 2 signing autographs. As the pandemic starts subsiding and easing up and more people get vaccinated, yeah, I agree. I think it would be a tremendous idea to have it done. But right now we have the WWE Network to relive those moments, but I hope to see that we can actually have a Hall of Fame. So that's my take on it as well. And before I conclude, I just want to let you know, I'm actually going to get my vaccination on April the 5th. I'm over the age of 50. Florida opened it up. I am actually going to go and get the Moderna vaccine. It is your choice if it's available where you live and in your state. We all could work together and get vaccinated and put an end to this horrific disease that is taking so many lives. And hopefully the cases will continue to decrease, and we'll be able to have one day where we won't have to wear masks and we'll be able to enjoy life more freely. So that's my take on that. So for this edition of Rough Cuts in this place, for the last time, I will be in my new apartment on my next video on the weekend of April 10th. Will be the next time you will see me in a new background, in a new home. As always, be safe, and may all of your matches be a main event. I hope you enjoyed this Hall of Fame edition of Rough Cuts. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.